Welcome to the Offsite Construction Series. I'm Audrey Grabesic, your host with the Offsite Dirt Media Channel. Today we're speaking about not only environmental design, interior design, we're also talking about home and safety. All of these measures impact the way that we live. We are speaking with Margie McNally. She's an Interior Elements Design is her company. And then we also have Kathleen Hulme. She's with Home Safety and Accessibility Solutions. Welcome, ladies. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. And thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. You know, this is a really interesting time in our lives where people are living longer. We have more disabled Americans and individuals that may have ran into an accident or having some kind of impairment. So I think this is a really hot topic as to how the industry is growing and how we're expanding. Margie, I'm going to kind of start you first. How did you get into, interior or environmental design?
Basically, from a history of having allergies and asthma as a young adult, I saw the need to improve my own personal environment to improve my health.
I'm really, it's interesting because it's just those little things that we start realizing that there's ways to start doing research and finding better solutions to not having to live with those issues. So I'm really happy to hear that you have designed an entire company around this premise. Being that that's the case, Kathleen Hulme is an occupational therapist. She's been doing it for, I think, 30 plus years. And her business is called Home Safety and Accessibility Solutions. Kathleen, how did you get into that area of doing home assessments and being in that space?
After being an occupational therapy assistant in skilled nursing rehabs, people were discharging home and unable to access their bathrooms, kitchens, bedrooms, sometimes not even able to get in their front doors. So I knew that there was a need that was not being met, and I decided to open my own business and help people live a safer, healthier life.
I think it's great that both of you, I actually met both of you together, which is like so rare to be able to have an influence in so many areas. How are you seeing lighting impact, and why is it important to consider lighting when you're designing for universal concepts and or aging population?
I can speak to that, Audrey. I see lighting as a critical issue in all environments, whether it be for the aging population or everyone that is in need of lighting for their pathways and egress. I just feel as though adequate lighting and addressing some of the issues around glare is very important.
I agree, and I think it's one of those areas, lighting is has such a big impact on our mood. It has an impact about how we live, how we feel. Are you seeing those same things when you're doing your design work?
It does. It has a tremendous influence. We all know that daylight makes us feel better, and incorporating daylight into the environment is so important, but we must be careful not to incorporate so much daylight that we're causing discomfort glare. So it's controlling the daylight, it's providing adequate electric light, and designing it so that it works to help a person be healthy and safe.
So when I look at both of your roles, and Kathleen, I'm going to have you kind of speak to this. Who performs a home safety accessibility solution or a test? And then the next question is, how does that relate over to Margie? How would she be able to be a part of that solution?
So the person that would, sorry, I missed the question.
It's all who performs a home assessment. How does that happen with a caretaker or somebody that's having an issue with some kind of disability, or maybe had an accident and they went through rehab and they're at this next stage of going home. How do you do a home performance? How does that work?
So An occupational therapist, a certified occupational therapy assistant, oftentimes a PT may have taken additional training to become a home modification expert, or a home safety expert may do it. And basically,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, basically, when we go into a home, we look at needs that people currently have as well as potential future needs, knowing the gradual progression of aging and disease, things like that. And referring back to lighting, lighting is essential because the aging eye requires more light. Glare can be blinding. Shadows can look like holes in the ground for people. And task lighting is very important, to make it easier to perform tasks, especially in the kitchen. Task lighting is very important.
It's interesting because as I'm aging and wearing glasses more and even driving at night, that glare is very impactful. So I didn't even know, Margie, how are you seeing things? I know that we were kind of speaking about lighting, but what other areas are being impacted on your design?
I'd say, especially for the senior communities, materials like we're talking flooring that's non-slip. We're talking room planning so that the pathways are clear and unobstructed. And so all of these things come into play to create a safe environment and a healthy environment for, again, not only seniors, but everyone. So it's called universal design. Healthy and safe environments that are well lit.
So are both of you seeing with this trend, because you're both you complement each other, right? Kathleen does home safety, she does these accessibility, she does these solutions, she brings the plan together. And then Margie, you're kind of like the design element. What kind of features, what kind of products, what things are you needing inside of that home in order to make it safe, in order to figure out these different solutions? And as that's becoming a prevalent conversation, there is universal design that we were kind of talking about. And universal design is basically designing a home that has these universal features that make our home more safe, make our home more accessible, allows us to live in our home longer. What things are you seeing as, maybe, I know there's a buzz around the human-centric lighting. Can you tell us a little bit more about that trend and what you're seeing with that area?
That is growing tremendously. Human-centric lighting, or circadian rhythm, as they call it. It's the body's biological clock that relates to lighting. So if you think of the cavemen and getting up at sunrise and going to bed at sunset, it's basically that simple. But now we have all of these factors, artificial lighting sources that keep us awake at night, or our screens, our computer screens and our iPhones that throw a blue light that throw off our bodily rhythms. So now there's a whole emphasis on this human-centric lighting and how to light an environment so that it mimics nature. So it's basically keeping the lights bright and more of that blue light during the day. And they've done studies on this that impact seniors in nursing homes and sundowners disease. And then in the evening, turning those lights down and making them more amber. And so we sleep better.
Kathleen, what's customized modification? What kind of products are you seeing out there? Like, I know that some homes, for certain individuals are using grab bars, and not all grab bars are the same, or even the location as to where they put them. So with your company, how do you come up with that solution? What is the process?
So typically, people that aren't in the space aren't aware that there are different shapes and sizes of grab bars, even handheld showers and shower benches, things like that. So as far as customized placement, if you or I were to do the exact same task, we may do it differently depending on our physical, cognitive, visual perceptual abilities. And even something that we may have experienced in the past may affect how we do a task. So placement for adaptive equipment or home modifications is customized to every single person depending on how they function.
And so when you look at home safety, what are the key characteristics that you're looking for when you do that assessment?
Basically looking for any types of barriers, uneven surfaces, poor lighting, poor contrast, the width of doorways, the width of hallways, the ease of accessibility in cabinets, being able to access your closet, get in and out of your bed safely. Another big one that people don't think about is when they're modifying a bathroom for someone that needs assistance, they're not considering making the shower area large enough for someone to safely assist whoever that person may be that needs help with the task.
Margie, I know that you have a lot of certifications. I know CAPS is one of your certification. What is that, and what kind of training did you have in order to acquire that certification?
Well, I saw a need a couple of years ago with my own mom who just turned 94, and I saw a need there. She didn't have the accessibility and the safety design in her environment. So I got my CAP certification a little over a year ago, and that is a certified aging in place specialist. And that enables me to really look at the environment around senior living, independent lifestyle design, if you will. I like to call it that versus aging in place. And really help people modify their spaces so that they're designed better for accessibility and safety. For instance, she had a microwave up over her stove, way out of reach and impractical and a danger. So we changed that. We put one on the countertop. We did roll-out shelves for her. So my certification as a CAP certified practitioner kind of embodies everything that I've learned up to this point to incorporate good interior design, healthful interior design, good air quality, and also accessibility and universal design.
Are you seeing more builders, more individual land developers and builders when they're starting to create communities, starting to look at these considerations?
In some cases, yes. A recent modular home project that I'm working on down the street did not address a lot of these issues, so I have approached them and haven't gotten a lot of feedback yet. But then again, I talk to builders that are all over it. They want to incorporate these safety features right at the beginning. And I just want to say that we can't operate in this capacity without people like Kathleen, because Kathleen has the physical body dimension information, like their actual limitations with each individual client. And I come at it from a design standpoint, but definitely, yes, people are really focused on this aging in place concept.
Kathleen, when you are talking with other people in this industry and you come from the perspective of the occupational therapist, are you seeing new trends or other things that are happening with these other conversations in the build and the lifestyle marketplace?
It's starting. It's very slow. It's been slow. But I feel like as the general population of people turning 65 continues to grow, people become more aware of what universal design and accessibility is, and then what their options are. I do feel like there will be increased conversation and changes made in the build and design of homes and communities as well.
When you look at home safety and accessibility, are you seeing one area grow bigger than another? As far as, are you seeing like more people becoming disabled? Is there something that's trending right now that we need to be a little bit more aware of and have the conversation around?
I feel like communities in general need to become more accessible for users. And slowly, like I said before, people are getting on board with that. As far as the homes, there's still some learning to do as far as zero entry, zero barrier entries. For instance, no steps, zero threshold, and then also maybe putting ramps in, using a sidewalk instead of, installing a traditional ramp.
I think those are all good points, and I think that we are starting to see those conversations happen. I know in Denver in particular, they have I think it's the Home Builders Association, and they have a foundation that's helping individuals. Actually, they have a ramp program, and I know it's just one small little space. And I'm starting to see more conversation. I think that's why the three of us connected, because we do see value in having these conversations and knowing the impacts. And especially, Margie, you made such a good point. We all have aging parents. Our parents are living longer, and we all deserve to have a healthy life in that space. In your practice, since this is kind of a growing and emerging market, are you seeing anything, in the communities where you're being involved and you're calling to do work? Are you seeing things kind of flourish? Like, are people actually having conversations and doing something about it, or are we just still in the conversation and education stage?
We're definitely moving the needle forward on this. I am involved in many networking groups, and I'm currently working with a big company up on the North Shore in Massachusetts that is focused on people with low vision. So what they're seeing is an influx of people that have problems seeing in some of these senior living residences. They have poor lighting. The lighting that was installed at the time of construction was not adequate. And so I am working with them to target a number of facilities to improve their lighting. It's like we're going to create a low vision lighting model so that we can somehow, without breaking the bank, improve the lighting for these people.
Are you seeing, Kathleen, more companies with more products out there that are assisting others that need home safety?
Absolutely. Yeah, there is definitely an increase in product availability and people's understanding of the benefits and necessities of these products.
I think it's good that we're talking about it because, we are designing the holistic home, and the holistic home has universal and inclusive design. So we're trying to open these barriers for home safety. And Kathleen, it's funny, you and I were talking about appliances, just appliances, one small factor in the home. And what have you found out about that?
What I found out in a whole lot of research is that there are not a lot of appliances out there that are accessible. They might be accessible for one disability, but not another. So having appliances that fit the need for different disabilities is a work in progress, I think.
Right. And so we were seeing, like, sometimes the door opens one way or it doesn't open the other, or there's just a dishwasher that's not high enough. So we're building systems in the house to actually elevate the dishwasher. It's interesting because in this day and age, we would think that there's, and it's a huge population that we're serving, right? This isn't just a 1% population. We're all growing, we're all getting older, we're all living a longer lifestyle. You would think that there's other products out there that would facilitate this, but we just got to keep having these conversations, right? And letting people know that we want these products. It's the same thing in offsite construction. Several years ago, nobody was really talking about it, but now we're starting to see people be more educating and knowing there's another building system out there, being able to construct your house in a manufacturing plant. There is benefits to that. We can use low VOC paints. We can actually not have rain and moisture in our home when we're framing. On that same result, Margie, Are you seeing, when you're having these conversations with builders, are you on the pre-planning and pre-development of these homes now, or are you coming in afterwards and trying to help make solutions at that point?
A little bit of both. So I recently obtained a client that's building a one-level home, and she wasn't at all interested in the aging in place concept or independent lifestyle design until she started talking about her in-laws potentially moving in with her down the road. And so I brought to her attention some of the design features that could be incorporated into this building before it's built. And now she's fully embracing it, like wider doorways and the zero clearance showers, and the low, like not a lot of steps leading up to the home. So I think it's important to just make people aware, and that's part of what I do. Is I educate people at councils on aging, or I reach out to senior centers and offer services there to educate people on how to look at this before these projects get underway, and be proactive.
Well, I love that about you ladies. That's why I'm so glad that we connected and we're having this conversation, because there's so many people out there that need these services. Thank you, Margie.
You're welcome. My pleasure to be here today.
And thank you, Kathleen. It's always fun to speak with you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So there we go. We're all aging in place. We're all living our best lifestyle. We're living longer. We need to start taking care of our people. We need to start building homes differently. And there are solutions. It's just finding the right people to educate yourself. Hoping that this series will help you have those conversations and finding the right individuals. Thank you for being here today on Offsite Dirt.